evening. Good evening. This is your girl, your diva, Sasha, coming into you live for another episode of Night Talks with Sasha. I hope that you're warm. I hope that you're safe because it's cold, and just stay in the house. I pray for those of our brothers and sisters that are homeless. I pray that they have shelter, have found shelter, and that they are somewhere warm. Okay. Now, this conversation has been, I've been trying to finish up this show for a minute now. So, we're going to finish it up today, tonight, this evening, and we're going to make it do what it do. So, I am talking about the emotional intelligence of men. It was a 3-part show. It was around the holidays. A lot of stuff happened. Technical difficulties with the platform, so it just kind of put everything on the back burner. But now things are fixed, and we are here, and we're going to have this conversation. Tonight, my panel is going to be, of course, the 3 ladies that joined me before the conversation. ATLThuda, Gabriella. Also, Ms Gibbs, who is the CEO and editor of HPS Magazine out of Houston, Texas. My friend, my sister, Lady T, mom extraordinaire, grandmommy, grandma of 2, and she's trying to learn about podcasts, and so she's coming in and just really absorbing everything that I'm trying to teach her. So I hope that works. Also, we're having a special guest, Michael Warrior Bonds. He goes by the name Warrior. He's out of Boston, Massachusetts. He's a poet and a spoken word artist, and a motivational speaker. I asked him to join into the conversation because he has a nonprofit where he teaches young men. He mentors them. I think it's from, we're going to find out, but I do believe it's from ages of 13 to 26. And I asked him about, did he teach them emotional intelligence? And that's how the conversation came, and I asked him to join the show. So I'm going to get everyone in, and then give them a little time to say a few words about themselves, and then we'll definitely get started on the show. Thank you. All right. Ms. Dee Gibbs, is that you?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, give us a few words about you and how you're doing, and let the people know exactly who you are. Give them a little history, but I want you to tell people a little bit about you.
I heard. Well, my name is Ms Dee Gibbs. I'm based in Houston. I'm a poet, and I created a poetry magazine called HPS. That's how it started back in 2006. Mm-hmm. And from then, it went from paper to now it's online. And it covers poetry, arts, and beyond, to be honest. Every aspect of things in a positive aspect.
Gotcha. And Mr. Bonds, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. Can you tell the people a little? I gave them a little bit of info about you, but let the people know about you from your own point of view, from your own words.
You did well. You did well, I must say. I am a poet, but more so a youth engagement specialist. I worked for several nonprofits and was affiliated with Boston Public Schools. The proven risk as opposed to at-risk young men, those young men that society finds difficult to work with gang members and criminally active and the like. And my job is not only to mentor them, but to, as I like to affectionately put it, make boys into men.
Got it. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming on, and I really am looking forward to your input into this conversation.
No problem. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. So, Lady T, give us a little info about yourself.
Hey, how y'all doing? I am one of Diva's close friends and just in this space looking to start my own podcast. So doing a little research and just, of course, don't mind sharing my opinion on the topic at hand tonight.
All right. Okay, great. It's so good to have you, and I hope that you are learning a lot from this. Because I just threw you in there. That's what was done to me. That's how I learned, and so I'm just doing what was taught to me. Kind of like sink or swim, sis. Sink or swim. And you're doing great. You are doing very well. So I want to get into this conversation. I know that we had talked about the emotional intelligence of men before, and a really deep conversation. We talked deeply about accountability, that was one of the things that was really geared toward an emotionally intelligent man, that he does not have a problem being accountable for his actions. Actually, it's important to him. Also, in my research, I have found that emotionally intelligent men, they cherish their peace. They also but they are listeners. They are better listeners, and they listen intently and not with the objective to respond. Mr. Bonds, I'm going to start with you. Would you agree with some of that of what I'm saying about emotionally intelligent men?
Are you talking to me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was just saying, Mr. Bonds. Do you want me to call you Mr. Bonds, or would you like for me to call you Warrior? You let me know.
Warrior's fine. Warrior's fine.
Okay. So would you agree with some of that description of what I said, that some emotional intelligent men are, or that they do, like avid, they are very good listeners. They don't listen with the ability to respond. They listen to hear.
Yes, to a degree. Anyone who listens with the ability to hear is basically actively listening. You know, from my understanding, there are 5 elements of EI: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and some social skills. So all those things are important when you're trying to discover something or have a conversation with someone. You know, you have to. My mother used to say, I'll go back to mom's teaching. My mother used to say, you can't listen, you can't hear with your mouth open.
Yeah.
You know.
True.
You know, so yeah.
Very true. Very true. Yes, I think it's important that I think we touched on it. It's been so long. It's been a minute since we had this discussion, and we touched on a lot of things in the first discussion that we had. Wouldn't you say that, Deidre, Lady T?
Yeah.
We touched on a lot of stuff, and I think it's important if we go back to listing those 5 qualities of EI. One thing that I wanted to do, the first one is that they challenge traditional masculinity. that's one thing that an emotionally intelligent man does. He does not necessarily believe in those traditional roles, like the man takes care of the outside and the woman takes care of the home. That's not what he does. He's very curious. He's more curious than having judgment. They are champions of an emotional labor in relationships. They can sit comfortably in their feelings or the ambiguity of their feelings, which actually is I personally see is not just a trait for an emotionally intelligent man, but I think that's a great trait for women, because there are some women that can't sit in those feelings, in their feelings, and they don't know how to articulate that into words and put those feelings that they have into the right context, or they act out. So I think that even though we're saying it for men, this actually goes across the board for women as well. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I agree with that. It goes both ways. If for it to be understood which partner, male or female, there has to be somebody has to be listening to each other. You have to. Yes,
absolutely. And I also want to say that their self-worth isn't based on society metrics or what society has to say or what society thinks that a man should be or what he is. And they have really good boundaries. And when I say about protecting your peace, they're really into protecting their peace. That's what I kind of meant about their boundaries. So I thought that's something that we should really put out there and say. So, ladies, what do you think about a man himself of dating a man that is all of those things?
In one word, refreshing.
Have you come across this? Have you come across an emotionally intelligent man in your dating life?
Not recently, no.
Okay.
But I have come across it, and it is a good quality to know that is out there.
Mhm.
But not recently, no.
Yeah. I got a question. Someone is raising their hand. Hold on. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'd like to hear the definition of an emotionally intelligent man.
What's your name again, caller?
My name's Joe.
Yeah, I thought that I had heard your voice sounds familiar. Yeah. You sound very familiar. Well, we're going to finish our discussion, and we will definitely get into that a little bit more. So let's stay on, and hopefully your question will get answered.
So you want me to stay on mute and then wait until you discuss emotionally intelligence, which you brought up just now?
No, I want you to wait and let us finish our conversation with the guest that I have on. And
okay.
Then I will definitely come back to you so that you can ask your question. But right now, I'm just kind of starting the show. Does that make sense?
All right. Yeah, how about if I put myself on mute? Is that good?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to do that now.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then again, like I said, I'll come back to you, and then you can add your input. So let me just finish talking to my guest right now, okay?
Did I not say he will be back? I'm just saying. I said it. I said he will come back.
We get a name this time.
That's what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say, because the last time
it was
we didn't,
a nickname.
Yeah, we didn't even get a name that time. So that's very appreciative. Thank you, Joe, for giving us your name this time and sharing with us. But we'll definitely get back to you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to talk to my guests a little bit more, if that's okay. So let me go through now.
Okay. Clear my throat.
Oh, okay. So, Warrior, this is what I want to ask you. Now, I know that you said that you are teaching young men to be men. And so in that, what does that look like? What is that about? Because I know for everyone that could be different, but I want to know from your point of view, what does that look like?
First, just let me briefly answer Joe, because I think his question deserves an answer.
Okay.
Basic emotional intelligence is basically the ability to manage both your own and understand other people's emotions. Mm-hmm. That's it in a nutshell. And I believe for us men, all too often, it's just assumed that women, or the women we encounter, so to speak, are emotionally intelligent. Mm-hmm. That's a discussion, as if we aren't. And I believe that is some of the frustration of men in conversations or in relationships with women. It is assumed. Not all, but it's often assumed that men are not aware of their emotions. They're not emotionally intelligent. They don't know what they want, and they can't hold a conversation or things of that nature. And so, as you all, agree on both sides, from both genders, there's oftentimes difficulty to communicate our emotions. Me as a man, personally, I've been in relationships growing up where it was difficult for me to get my point across. In regards to the young men I teach, emotional intelligence comes with a certain level of maturity. That doesn't necessarily mean age, but it goes with maturity. Oftentimes they can't identify what they're feeling, so the anger comes in waves. Their emotional responses to different things comes from a place they can't even identify. Some generational traumas, some things they experienced, or what have you. So they can't really. So it is not to say they can't be blamed for the I would say they can't be blamed for the symptoms. They can't be blamed for doing something because they were traumatized or have gone through some things, and they don't know where it's coming from. So you may get a young man, like, for example, I meet young men who are deep in street teams and shooters and so on and so forth. And when you first meet them, their first response to you is, "You're not my father. Fuck you," excuse my language, and all the negative traits and all those other things. And it's a matter of consistency and being there in spite of all the other things, because eventually they'll come down. They'll come around. So part of my job is to get them to, just the first part of it is simply just being there. A lot of us are scared. A lot of us are nervous. because of the obvious reasons of the young men in these streets. And it's true. We represent the image of the person who either left or abused or, disrespected mom or whatever the case may be. That's why you see most young men who are accomplished football players, basketball players, doctors, lawyers, or whatever. The first person they think when they get a microphone in their face is, "Hi, Mom."
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a place, any of you women, have you ever been in a place of like a director's position, coordinator's position, or a position where you are educating or just leading some young men, and they give you more respect than they will give your male counterparts? Have you been in situations like that?
Off the top of my head, I'm going to have to say no.
No.
I have.
Excuse me?
I have. This is Lady
Okay.
T. I've been in that situation where they'll give or they'll respond more to women than they do men.
That's a better way of describing it, responding. I appreciate that. Thank you.
And it's grown men, it's young adults, it's children, it's I might as well say all age groups, but yes, I've noticed that, and when I tell y'all where it's at, it's in the church.
Yeah,
true.
You'll see that men will respond better to a woman given a direction in something than a man. And it's the same. What you were just saying, you're not my father, you can't tell me what to do, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
And then a woman comes and tells him, "Boy, go sit your ass down."
Right.
And he's like,
okay.
And he may be a little salty. He may be a little salty,
Yeah.
but he's not doing that.
Right.
He's not doing that.
Yeah.
So if we can work with that, if we can get through that as men, myself and other youth engagement specialists, youth workers, and the like, we brave that, on a daily basis, and we're trained to accept all the insults, all the anger, and the whole nine, and not respond and not react in a negative way, because that's what they're used to.
Yeah. Now, personally, I have had some training like that because I've studied social work, and I have never had to necessarily use the training, but I had the training where we had to come face to face with an aggressive individual, and we had to learn how not to react to that. But I haven't had that personally. But in listening to it, one thing that I have experienced is that in high school, I was a tutor. And I tutored a lot of the football players, actually. And I could say to them, "Hey, come on! I'm only 4'6", 8", somewhere around in there. I'm not very tall." And these guys were over 6 feet tall, and it was I could say that. So, but I never looked at it as that because I think it was I was 17, 18 years old, and I had no idea what it was, but I just thought they were just doing it because I'm their tutor. I never thought of it in the way that you're describing it, and that's really interesting.
And it's not in every case, but I found in a lot of cases, the young men dealing with, especially young men that I deal with, if they haven't had positive male role models in their life, and the role models that they've been introduced to and they've grown up with, haven't been, influential, have been negative, abusive, and so on and so forth. Their response to me comes from that level of trauma. And as I said before, a lot of them don't even realize it, but it reflects in the way they converse with me. And if I continue to show them, the image of a positive male, someone who's consistent in spite of all that things, I'm not running away from you. I'll be here when you're ready. If you're not ready to talk, it's okay. If you're not ready to build, it's okay. If you're not ready to find a job or get an education, I hear. You got my number. Call me when you're ready. And it may take a week. It may take a couple of months, a year. But in most cases, in 90% of the cases, I receive a phone call. It may come from a text now number, some number I never heard of. Whatever. You remember me, Mr. Barnes? Yeah, this is me. Listen, I'm in trouble, or I need a job, or I need help with this. And you have to be ready at a moment's notice to deal with that, because that's the moment when they're open and they're vulnerable and they're ready for change. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can see that. Have you ever come across a young lady that felt the same way? Because and the reason I'm asking that, because you have young women, and I know for myself, my father wasn't in the house, and personally, and this is just me, I have a distrust of some men. It's not as bad as it used to be when I was younger, but I did at one point in time in my life, where I don't trust men. I didn't trust them, and in being that, I realized that oftentimes in relationships, I was the one that was, if my male, because even with my husband, I got married in 2016, and even with my husband, he often had to do that with me. He would tell me something that he thought was best for me to do, and I would look at him and like, who the fuck is you talking through? You ain't my damn daddy. You don't do that. Yeah. Yeah. And he would be like, okay, I'm going to talk to you in a minute when you calm down. And then, and he was very, Michael was very emotionally intelligent. And he really helped me grow and develop my own intelligence as a woman. And so I was just wondering, had you ever come across a young lady that was in the same position as some of your young men?
Yes, absolutely. There are young ladies that I encounter. There are young ladies who are very, very volatile, who have been traumatized by men and women in their lifetime. They had a whole host of experiences. None that I wish to describe right now, but absolutely, I've met several young women like that, and it's interesting that you and I appreciate your honesty in saying that it was you and your relationship that was difficult to manage, so to speak. Had difficulty managing her emotions as opposed to the brother, because oftentimes, women may meet an emotionally quote unquote intelligent brother, but she believing that she is, and oftentimes, and I have to be admitted, it's no disrespect. I just want to say this. There are women who discuss things like emotional intelligence, and it's just catchphrases that they heard in conversations, but they know nothing about it. And so they believe that because they're able to converse, talk, and express themselves, that they are emotionally intelligent, and that's just not it.
True.
It's a whole other level
true.
of intelligence, you know. And I think the only way to be truly emotionally intelligent is you have to know yourself. You have to know what you've been through, what you can accept and what you can't, what you won't accept. You have to know what angers you, what your triggers are, you know, what draws you out, and you have to be able to accept an opposite opinion, because oftentimes, and I say this on a panel of women, oftentimes a lot of women are not able to accept a different opinion.
True.
You know, a lot of women want their opinion. A lot of women. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying a lot of women want their opinion to be the dominant opinion and want no response.
Sure.
Yeah, they just want to be validated by what they think, and that's it. There's plenty of women that's like that.
And oftentimes it's not true. You know, I mean, accepting, you know, and I say this with a grain of salt, accepting a certain level of leadership or guidance from a male, especially if you've been an independent woman and you've been in situations where you've been traumatized by men, so it can be difficult. It can be difficult to accept. It really can. You know, you know, and a lot of women want men to be to express themselves and talk. Yeah. But they really, in all honesty, they really don't want to hear what they got to say. You know? You really don't want it. You really don't want to hear it, because if I told, listen, I've been through a number of different things in my life, and I've been in situations where, okay, tell me about you, and I tell them about me and where I come from, and it's like, nah. Nah. You know, because I'm open and honest. I'm open and honest about my past. I used to be one of those brothers, one of those young men. You know. Yeah. I served. I served 10 consecutive years in prison for attempted murder, and did 3 years in solitary confinement. I changed my entire life. I've been free from the prison industrial complex for 24 years. You know, free of mind. I have a degree in criminal justice with a minor in youth development right now, and I've been working in this field for quite some time. And if you meet someone, and, you know, some things you want to hold back. You know, everybody has a representative. And then when you get deeper into the relationship, and then you get down to these conversations and thinking about whether or not you want to be with someone, you want to tell them more. And then you begin to tell them, and I tell them, and they say, well, tell me all about your past. Well, you really want me to go into this? Exactly. You know, and you talk about some things, and talk about the things that you've been through and what you've done. It makes it difficult for people, and it's not always has to do with, you know, a criminal past. It could be anything, you know. It is whatever. True. Very much. It could be just
infidelity. It could be lying. It's there's always more than one thing.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. So you have just trying to be honest in general with someone. If you try to be honest in general, if you tell a person, for example, you're right about that infidelity. If you tell a person, I cheated in the past, and I went through this, and I did this, and I was a player, but I'm trying to change my life, and you're the one for me. And they're like, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute. If you did that, then what makes you think you're not going to do it with me? And then it starts a whole other. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm running. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said sometimes women overanalyze the situation or what they're receiving.
True. They overthink
it. To piggyback off of what Warrior said is that women want an emotional, intelligent man, but don't want to hear it. In my opinion, I don't think it's that we don't want to hear it. I think sometimes we can't process what we're hearing, or we don't know how to respond because it's not what we thought it was going to be. Because let's just be real, sometimes we put people in places that they're not in. We put them on a pedestal put them, you know, in a place where they're not. And then when we hear the truth and it's no longer the fairy tale, but it's reality, we don't want to deal with the reality.
Yeah,
and now
exactly.
it's his fault, when in actuality, you put him there, or he put you there, and now you're hearing the real, and it's taking down the fallacy that you came up with.
Well, those are, and I often have this conversation with people about that, and it's like we put expectations on people, and people get upset with me when I say this, but when you put expectations on a person, you are putting yourself up for disappointment, because people are who they are, and if you can't accept a person for who they are, the good and the bad, then what do you really have? And I think a lot of times we as women, and I can say for myself, that I have put expectations on a person, on people, not just men, but people in general. And then when they show me their ass, and I'm like, what the hell? But it was my fault, because I didn't give myself, I'm putting you at this place, but I don't really know you like that, you know?
Well, if I could say something to that,
sure.
In most cases, it's okay to put certain expectations on people. I expect you to be, if you show me the representative of a woman with class and intelligence, I'm expecting that of you at all times. You know?
Yes.
Now, if for some reason, out of the blue, you know, some toxic trait comes in, it's up to me to decide whether or not I want to remain in that situation. You know? So, I mean, I can't say fully that I'm putting an expectation on you, but it's the expectation of let's just say of a healthy, mentally healthy human being. Everybody represents that when you first meet. Okay, there's a mentally healthy human being in front of me. She's attractive. She's intelligent. Conversation is well. And we are moving forward. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, something happens. We're like, whoa, wait a minute. Now, it is up to me as the person on the other end on the opposite end of the table to decide if this is enough for me to deal with. You know, should I have to, or is there some underlying issues with this person that she hasn't dealt with, and should I move forward? So that's okay. I think that's okay. That's not putting expectation. It's just a certain expectation that you have of people. Like for example, me, you pretty much expected me for the most part to come on and you know, speak about male emotional intelligence. Now, if I flip it and start talking about some crazy stuff, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, this ain't what we talking about. So that's just a humorous example.
Yeah, I get it. You're right. I accept that. I can accept that. You're right. I think it's when you get to that, for me, and I expect that, like, that makes sense to me. Yes, I completely agree with what you're saying. Yes, if you say that you are what you are, then that's what I expect you to be. But I think for me, I didn't mean it in that way. But I get what you're saying, and I respect that. Yeah.
You expect the best of people. Bottom line, you just expect the best of people anyways. And if they show you something different, then that's where your options are. You're a human being. You have the option. You have the option to accept it or deny it. That's it.
I feel like it's when the real them shows up and the representative is no longer there.
Yeah.
So once you get into, when you first meet someone, of course you're trying to keep their interest. Now that y'all are dating and you're in it, now you're relaxed, you're where you're supposed, you're calm, and you know, I got him, she has me, blah blah blah. Now the real you shows up, the real him shows up. Now let's see how we gel together, if there's a connection really there. That's how I look at it. How is he going to react when something really happens? How is she going to react when something really happens? Like when we go through some trying times, it's no longer the introductory stage or whatever you want to call it.
Being on your best behavior.
Right.
Like showing, like I'm gonna be the best of me that I can, so to show this person, I'm like, you should like me. But then once, okay, they like you and things are settled, it's like, okay, let me be me. And that to me, that's where the true test of any relationship is. It's not the very beginning, the meet and greet. For me, well, in my eyes, it's more of, okay, we're compatible this in this aspect. Now let's see foundation. What's really going to work? Okay, I see I'm compatible with you. I like this. I like that. That's great. But let's see if we can mesh. Will you really be a good fit for me mentally, not physically, just on the mental aspect? And that's where the start of for me, a relationship is. Because once you get past it's good to see you, the butterflies, that excitement of starting something new, to start matching to see, okay, how is this going to work? How are you when it comes to boredom? How is it you when it comes to family issues or health issues or finances, normal day-to-day stress, or how well will we mesh on that level? The reality level is what I call it. It's okay. I gotta impress. Like God, like you going to church, and for the first time, you going into a new church, so you gotta be on your best behavior. How you gonna be once you step off that ground?
But
to me, that's the real.
But can't you find that out, and don't you find that out as time goes on? Because I think a lot of times...
Well, that's what I'm saying. When time goes on, that's when the reality kicks in, because you're not trying to be at your best. Because you're being
the more comfortable you get.
So they're taking that level off of, okay, I got to be on my best behavior. People are watching, trying to make this, make sure you don't say this or do this. That level is off.
Okay.
So it's like you can be yourself. You can be your true person.
Yeah.
And when that level comes in, for me, that's when relationships really start. Because all this stuff in the beginning is just butterflies and just trying to see, okay, I like you. It's like we come to you like the same things I do, but let's see reality. How will that really work? And that reality comes in when you stop being, like you going to church. Now it's time. Okay, let's go. It's home. Watch a movie. Let's see how you are when a sports game come on.
I get that. I think my problem is, and I can again be transparent. I show people who I am off the rip. Like what you see is what you get. Like I don't have a whole lot of I'm gonna act like this. Like when you go out on a first date with someone and you hungry, but you just eat a salad, but you really hungry. No, my fat ass gonna eat. Okay. Hey, if I'm going to eat, I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
correct.
That's just me.
Correct.
So I think a lot of times, when I am out here trying to date, I think that I kind of intimidate guys because they're like, well, damn, that's a lot. But I'm like,
you're not afraid to be yourself.
No.
You're showing yourself from the start.
Yeah. And especially now that Now that I have to add in, I have cancer. So it's like, well, when do you tell the person that? How do you broach that subject? And for what I've been doing is, if we on this dating site and you ask for my number and we're talking and we text each other for a couple of days and we constantly in contact, all right, now I'm going to tell you, listen, bro, I want to give you a little update on some information. Like, if you can't, because if there are moments and there are times where I disappear. Like, I just, and it's like, hell, where you go? Why you disappear? What's wrong? Well, I just had treatment, and I ain't feel real good, and it took everything out of me. So 2-3 days, I'm just gonna have to just be like sleeping, and so it's like, okay, what's wrong with you? Oh, I have cancer. For real? Wait a minute, what? Yeah. And I think that's a lot for a person sometimes, and it's not that. But I think that I don't know. I just think that
some people, not to cut you off, some people can handle it on that first date, because it's like if the conversation is to the point where people are comfortable, they're not trying to impress, they just feel comfortable enough to be themselves on the very first date. And if that means if they feel comfortable talking about their life, you tell them right then, because that is what's going on in your life. That's what you're dealing with. Some people, will be fine to, have no problem being there, with somebody that has health issues. There are a lot of people who are not as scared as the stigma of having it is, because that is outdated.
Yeah.
There are more people who will be there.
And the same applies to if you have children. Like a lot of, I prefer to be upfront in the beginning, first conversation. Boom! I have a child. I have a daughter. I'm a mother. I am a mama. I'm active. We're active. Yeah. So that's my number one priority, and I put it out there. And,
you're a mama bear.
Right, and you'll be surprised at some that are like, okay, and then as time progresses, oh, you're a mother for real. Yes, I do this for real. I'm a parent. And it's okay if that's not, you know what I'm saying, acceptable to you or whatever, or you having an issue coming in third or fourth or whatever in my life, but this is where I am right now and whatnot. So, it is certain things, as you were just saying, you do have to come off the bat and let them know where you are in this moment, like especially if it has to do with children or health or something like that.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's best to go ahead and get that out there. So that, because you don't want to, for me personally, I don't want to waste anyone's time. And I don't want anyone to waste my time. So let's just go ahead and just have this conversation, and then we can go on. But this is me. Like I don't do that representative stuff. I think that's what gets me in trouble.
Oh my goodness. Goofy.
I don't. This is it. When if you come over to see me, you might see the bonnet on. But this is the real. Like, if you around me as a man for a long period of time, you gonna see this bonnet, bro.
The reality. This is the reality. Bonnet and all.
No, I think it is. I think it's definitely important to reveal, any health issues that may be, such as cancer and children and things of those natures off the rip, so as not to give a false impression. Because, in my opinion, that's when you're lying to someone or you're keeping something from someone to elicit some type of emotion or response from them. I think that's low key controlling. You're directing my attention in a way you want me to go, and then all of a sudden the bomb is dropped, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. Now I may be emotionally attached, and now I feel obligated to either stick around or put on a certain face, so as not to give you the impression that what you just told me wasn't like traumatizing. Wait a minute. Like, we've been doing this for a couple of months, and you just now telling me you got cancer? Or, wait, hold up. Wait, you just now telling me that you got kids? I didn't have to meet them. You should at least told me,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Off the rip. I didn't have to meet them off the rip. Just, you should at least, told me and gave me the option of deciding whether or not I want to be in this type of relationship or,
That's what I say. The intelligence goes both ways. It's like the woman has to be able to say it, and the guy has to, the other person has to be able to accept it. Both versions.
Yeah, I think that, and I don't want people to get the wrong impression of why are you just talking about emotional intelligence in men? Well, I'm talking about it because it's not talked about. Because people don't have this conversation. There are people that just assume that some men are just walking around here as just a big penis, and that's all that they are.
The expectation.
They don't have feelings, they don't have emotions. They're just a penis, and they're just trying to find somewhere for the penis to go, and that's not true. And I think that in order for us to, that's why I call this a truce, because if we want a better understanding, if we want things to be better between the sexes of men, and it's not just about color, it's about men and women in general, then somebody got to have the conversation. And someone has to be honest and say, well, men are this way, blah, blah, blah. But, women can be that way, too, and not make it like it's all against men or it's just men that do these things. And that's not my cup of tea. I don't believe in that. That doesn't get anything accomplished or done.
Well, I appreciate the conversation because, on the flip side of that, the general consensus is that when men and women meet each other, have conversations, a lot of women believe they're the most intelligent person in the room.
Yeah.
Oh,
and No, this is true. This is true.
I know it's true, but I was like, then they show that it's a flat out no.
As she described, we're just a penis, and we're just a penis looking for a place to plant it. And she has all the answers to, she has all the attributes of being the best thing I can be. I've been in situations where, you'll never find anyone better than me. I'm like, than me. And in my mind, I'm like, there's millions of women out here, and you truly believe that you're the best person for me, but yet we're in this conflict. And to get back on the topic, emotional intelligence involves, a good level of conflict management, being able to manage conflict, without it becoming confrontational.
Yeah.
True.
Being able to understand, as I said before, what your boundaries are, what your triggers are, and being able to deal with those things in such a way that you can resolve the conflict in an amicable manner. amicable manner, or whatever. I'm stumbling with my words, but I'm sure you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, that's true. And again, that also goes back to a point that I was trying to make about protecting your peace, because that's for me that's what my boundaries are for, to protect my peace, so that I don't have to go through that mess. I don't want to go through that with peace.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of women hold back. It's a controlling thing, I agree, but it's not, how can I say it? It's not purposely for a lot of them. They're not purposely, that's not their main goal, is to be controlling. I think a lot of females hold back, information and stuff because they just don't want to get hurt. It's just that vulnerability. And they don't know, or they've gone through to where they were vulnerable, let it out, and they got burned. Because it's like people will try to be the best that they can be, showing out.
But with respect, that's true. That's true for us as well. We've been
definitely.
burned. Most of us have been burnt as well.
I still believe everything goes both ways. But I think that's why I say to a degree, when a woman does it, it's 99%. It's not like a one-time burn. It's like multiple, to the point to where because if a woman is being truthful, she's gonna want to express. She's gonna want to let it out. She's gonna want to share. So for her to hold back, that means it's like that's like a little kid hiding. So that's a lot of fear.
I kind of disagree with you, Deidre. I believe that there are. I believe that women are very controlling, because, and I don't think it's, and I get what you're saying. Yes, you hold things back because you are afraid of being vulnerable. You're afraid of expressing yourself, and I get that. And
yeah, I mean the fact that not the main goal is to be controlling. True, there's some that's gonna be, both versions are gonna go try to be complete control hogs. But
I think it depends on what you've been through, your personal experiences.
Exactly.
So if you've been vulnerable and open and you've always gotten hurt, then you're going to take a different route because you're tired of getting hurt or taken advantage of or whatever, and then vice versa. So I think it depends on the woman's experience and also maturity level. Just because you're 47 don't mean you act 47. You get what I'm saying? And that goes for men or women or whatnot. So
that's what I want. That's what I wanted to be said, is that those things, those feelings that you're describing, yes, they are true, but at the same time, like Warrior said, men feel it as well. And men have those same feelings as well. And I know that you're not. I know that you're not excluding it, and I know that you're not trying to make a difference. I get that, but I think that we need to, in our conversations, when it comes to talking about these situations between men and women, we need to say people, because when you say one versus the other, it's not like that. Somebody is being excluded. Let me just say that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, you have to understand. What is your? Let me ask you all. What is your definition of a man and masculinity?
Definition of a man for me, I would say ethics, character, loyalty, heart, and caring. Those would be the top 5.
Okay. Anyone else?
Lacey?
Anybody else want to chime in?
I'm sorry. I was trying to get to my mute button.
Your definition, what would be your definition of a man? Or, I mean, describe masculinity to you in your own words.
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very loaded question.
Or just put them together if you want to.
Well, I think masculinity and my definition of being a man is having the ability to be a leader, but at the same time able to be led. A man that can hear and validate and can receive that at the same time. Because sometimes people can't. They don't. I said that wrong. They can receive validation and return it. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. And also I think my definition of a man is someone that just, he keeps his word. For me, that's important. And loyalty. If he says he's going to do something, then he does it. And that's it. I think we can work on the rest of it. But those are my important things.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's communication, leadership, listening, provider, spiritual. That's what I think.
I asked that question because in the past and often men have been described by what they can do and what they can provide as opposed to the emotional aspects of us, what we feel, what we care about, and how we love, how we want to be loved, and things of that nature. And in a lot of cases, the softer sides of men are viewed as a weakness, were viewed as a weakness, I should say. I think it's just been recently that, we've been able to been asked to express ourselves, be expressive, and be vulnerable. In the past, because I know I'm an elder brother, and the way I was brought up was, don't cry, learn to fight, protect everybody, and provide for, whoever you're responsible for. Mm-hmm. Those are the things I was taught. That was the definition of a man that I was given as I grew up. As I've grown, I've learned different ways about myself. I'm a father of daughters. I got 4 girls. I'm a girl dad. And my girls, I must say, have taught me more about being a man than anybody I've ever encountered. Because I've learned how to regulate. I've learned how to regulate my emotions. I've learned how to, change my tone when I say certain things, because I could say things. I could say, "Go clean your room," in this tone of voice, and depending on which daughter it is, she says, "Daddy, why you yelling?"
Yep.
And stuff like that. So there's ways of communicating, facial expression, and so on and so forth. But there's things that we need as well. We need validation. We do indeed need validation. We need to, my love language is appreciation. I don't need your material things. I don't need a woman to build me. I don't need any of those things. I just need appreciation. Just understand that, at times just say thank you. I appreciate you. I see you. Those things. So, yeah, so it's, I just wanted to, add that point of view.
Thank you for adding that point of view. Because I really do believe that those things are forgotten that men need, and that our brothers, and they don't get, because, and I've heard women say, well, I see a man that cry, I think he's a punk. And I'm like, what? No, he's not. And I've been in situations with men as friends where they were in so much pain that they wanted to cry, but they couldn't because I was around. And
yeah,
I'm like, no, it's so, it's okay. And being with my husband before he passed, he was in a lot of pain like that, and he always tried to be strong and act like it didn't hurt and that he wasn't in pain. And I told him, like, you don't have to do that with me. Like, this is a safe space. You're safe with me. I'm going to take care of you. And I think we forget that men need to hear that as much as we do. They're human. But,
No, we are indeed. There's a poet that great friend of mine here up here in Boston. Her name is Cole Rodriguez. He has a poem about a young boy who was traumatized, going through a bunch of things growing up as a young man in America and whatever. And I think it culminates in all he needed to do was cry, and that would have relieved all the tension. But he was never asked, and never that part of him was never accepted as strong. So he was all those attributes and so on and so forth. It's important. My daughter, she'll be 18 next month. She said she never seen me cry until my brother died. She said, "Daddy, and it was like a big shock. They were all looking at me like, what? Like they had never seen me cry until my brother died." So, and those are things that I grew up with. And I'm trying to add this new way of being into my life because, mainly because, as I said, my daughters. I want to be the best version of a man. I want them, when they're looking at a man to be a life partner or what have you, I want them to think, I would hope that they think, if you're nothing like my dad, then, you're not, the man for me at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I know that a lot of men, I grew up in a household where there was nothing but women. And I lived with my grandmother, great-grandmother, and my mother, 4 generations in one house. And I grew up with a woman, especially my grandmother, that often said, "Don't cry. Stop crying. What you crying for?" So I know that it's taught, and I'm not saying that it's not, and I'm not trying to knock what men go through, but it's not taught in the same way. But in some women's households, they have heard that too. Don't cry.
Don't show emotion.
Yeah, I hear it now. Don't cry. Stop crying.
Well, to a degree, to a degree, man, for real, I still have this strong and this heavy, this flat affect in certain situations, because I grew up in the hood, so there's some situations there's some situations where, listen, it's not about tears, it's about who you are, So I still gotta be a certain way, but don't ask me to be totally vulnerable at times, for real, because I'm just not. especially with the population I work with, but we do have conversations along cognitive behavioral therapy and dialectic and behavioral theories and things of that nature that suggest that, you'd be able to flex your emotions, flex your thinking, and be able to regulate your emotions in certain situations, But growing up in these environments that we've grown up in, certain things are not called for. You have to have a certain level of strength, and you have to show a certain level of strength in order to get through.
Absolutely.
You can't just
be.
And I truly believe, controversial or not, I truly believe that, a good man, a totally good man, is also a dangerous man when he has to be.
Absolutely.
Because I got daughters to protect. To protect. You know what I'm saying? So at the drop of a hat, if I get a 911, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. My husband was the same way. Very easygoing brother. Just very calm, very laid back. But if you fought with me or his aunt or his mother, you getting a whole nother brother out of Bridgeport, Connecticut coming out. What?
Yeah.
So I get it, yeah. And you have to be that way to survive, because sadly, you can't walk around. I've learned, for me, that I can't walk around with my heart on my sleeve, because it's not healthy. And so you gotta, in certain situations, I have to be a little hard. And I know people like, "Ooh, you too mean." My friend on the phone right now just said, "Ooh, you get these men a hard ass time. Why you so hard?" I'm like, girl, ain't nobody got time for that. No, I mean, I'm not hard, but it's just like what you said about your daughters. You want them to be able to go back and say, "Nah, he's not for me." Well, being married for 4.5 years before my husband died, and being treated by him the way that I was, I can now say that I didn't get that same treatment from my father. My father didn't show me those things because he wasn't there. But my husband did. And he showed me how I should be treated and how I should be respected. My dad didn't. My dad was on drugs, and he was out in the streets doing God knows what. He wasn't at home with me. And so I got to be 36 years old and met my husband, the man that became my husband, and with being with him, I had the ability to grow as a woman and grow into those emotions and those things of being able to see a man and let him lead me, and not constantly as you ain't my daddy. What you talking about? Those types of things. And so now that my husband has passed on, I'd be a damn fool to go backwards.
I have a question for everyone in regards to what was just said. So when you're in a relationship and or a marriage, and you find that person that treats you the way you want to be treated or enjoy being treated, and whatever happens and it ends, and then you go back out into this world of dating, which has changed threefold from what it used to be, now you know what you like or enjoy or whatnot. Do you give a person an opportunity to learn how to treat you, or is that something that they should approach and try to learn on their own? Like,
I think should learn together, because how are they going to know is if you don't show.
Right.
So it's just that those conversations and those moments, you have to show. If this is what I like, this is what I don't like. This is my love language. These are my triggers. You have to be
because
able,
over time, as you get older or mature, that changes. Because for me, back in the day, it was, I want someone who's a provider, who can be there, who, if I don't have it, he got it. But now it's communication. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Communication and respect and other things are a lot more important to me than that. But I was just curious about that.
Oh no, I can admit, me growing up, I think I still have the paperwork. I used to, when I had a hard time dealing with dating. Everybody wanted to hook me up because Deidre didn't need to be single. To the point where I made a list of everything that I wanted in a guy. And my friends made me stop that list because I was in the 300s.
Oh, girl.
No, because it was with basic things. I'm like, I don't want somebody who knows how to tell time. I want someone who can read the newspaper. Basic things.
I laugh now because I look at back in the day when I used to be like, what's your dude, the guy that you really like, and I always would say, I want them to be 6 foot this and light skin and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then when I go back over time and I look at my life, I'm like, I never even dated anyone like that. Like,
oh, wow.
Okay. So it's the maturity that comes in and things like that.
I would say this. If I may. It's important that if just going back on the original question, part of the question, you made a statement that if, for example, if you're in a relationship, it was great and then it ended. We don't put enough emphasis on the ending part. How did it end? And what was it that ended it? We go back into relationships, or we get back on the dating scene, showing all these virtues and all the positive aspects of who we are and the things that make us happy and make us, get us to open up. But have we dealt with the ending part of our relationship? What was it? There's two parts of every story, and then there's the middle. There's the middle that brings out the truth, as I like to say. I don't think if a relationship is ending or ended, as a lot. Hold on for 1 second, please.
Mhm. Because we're waiting on him. That goes back.
I'm sorry. Hello.
Yeah, you're fine.
I'm sorry. Someone's downstairs. Someone was on their way downstairs at my door. But in any case, we have to work on. Just to sum it up, I think it's important that we work on. We revisit what ended the relationships, what part we played in that, so as not to bring that same baggage over to another relationship, because everyone is not the same.
Yeah.
Everybody's not the same. You go into a relationship, and then automatically, if you haven't dealt with those triggers, as someone put it, if you haven't dealt with those triggers and those things about you that may have triggered the ending, or possibly triggered the ending of your relationship in the past, someone may exhibit something similar. It may be small, but it may be a spark that says, "Oh man, wait a minute, hold up," and you end up in this cycle of repeating the same thing over and over again.
Exactly.
And as we know, that's the definition of insanity.
Exactly. I totally agree. I don't know if you have to go, Warrior, or not, but if you do, let everyone know where they can find you and where they can possibly see you. And if you want to put something out there that you were doing, working on, go for it. Please do.
Absolutely. I appreciate the conversation. I wanted to hear from Joe because I'm the only male in this conversation, and oftentimes, man, I feel like I'm about to get beat up on when I get a conversation with a bunch of So when Joe came through, it was like a breath of fresh air. I was like, okay, wait, because I didn't know what to expect. But y'all are very, very sweet, and I appreciate it. I want to hear from Joe, and I do have to go. But this is for Joe mainly, but for everybody. Joe, I want you to reach out to me. My name is Michael Warrior Bonds, and you can find me on IG at Poems Boston, POEMS BOSTON. I'm on Facebook as well, but mostly there. It's a platform for artists. I book artists. I do events. I perform. I'm performing a number of different places. On the 27th, I'll be in. On the 27th, I'll be in Springfield, Mass. at Kai and L's Food for the Soul. On the 1st, I'll be at Boston College. On the 11th, I'll be at Lizard Lounge in Cambridge, Mass. On the 24th, I'm hosting Just Spit Open Mic. I host Just Spit Open Mic in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, and in Stoughton, Massachusetts, monthly. So you guys are welcome to come. Welcome to show up. And if you want to book me for an event, please do. All right?
Right. Well, I want to thank you again for coming on and having this conversation with us. It was very enlightening. Thank you again for being willing to come on.
All right. You ladies take care, all right?
You do the same.
You too.
Good night. Anyway, what were you going to say, T? Did your call get dropped? But I think Lady T call got dropped. I don't know what happened. But I wanted to answer her question about whether or not you should give them an opportunity. Yes, you should definitely give. They're calling me. I'm still on air. Yes, I think that you should give a person an opportunity to treat you
the way you want to be treated.
Yeah, treat you the way that you want to be treated. Absolutely.
You gotta give them the opportunity.
Yeah, you have to give people the opportunity. But my thing is this. If you show me from the jump that you are not and you're wasting my time, I'm not going to keep doing that. You're showing me that you're wasting my time. And so I look foolish if I have given this person opportunity after chance after chance to show me, to treat me how I want to be treated, to treat me in a good way, and they can't, they don't, they choose not to. No. And that's the problem that I've incurred. Again, it could be my approach. I am a very direct person.
Yeah, I agree with you because I'm direct as well. And one thing I've learned throughout the years is even though we're being direct, the way we say and do things where it gets interpreted
Mhm.
that's where the issue is. But I always try to tell people, if I say something and you don't, if it's hitting you the wrong way, don't be afraid to ask me to repeat or try to say what I mean.
Thank you.
But that's the level. But that's the level of having relationships with people. You have to be open enough to where, like, look, it's okay if I say something. It's okay for you to call me on it, so I can reiterate what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So, but yeah, that's why it's like, that's where I come in when I say, okay, after all the that's part of reality. This is the everyday stuff. This is stuff that, where the meshing comes in. Because, like I said, in the beginning, it's like you're at church. You got to be on your best behavior. Now you at the house. Everybody's like doing their own thing. You being you.
Mhm.
That's where the reality is. This is where, how is this relationship gonna work?
How you communicate, how how
can you communicate
things.
Sometimes being intimate, just being one-on-one, that can be more difficult than being around a crowd of people, because that's like, you're comfortable with that. But then when it's just one-on-one, that's where, this is your opportunity to be vulnerable, to connect. You say you want this, now you have to put in the work.
Absolutely. And I don't want people, I don't compare my husband or the other people that I've come in contact with. I don't compare them to him. He was him. I don't do that. But at the same time, don't fucking waste my time. Like, play with your mama. She loves you. I don't.
Dang.
Like,
but I get it. Oh, trust me, I get it.
It's just, and I know.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that people think she's a bitch. No, I'm not a bitch. It's just
you just don't want to waste your time.
Exactly.
Just be what you want.
We're not meshing. So bye. Like, you go find somebody else, and I don't see a point in.
Sometimes you gotta wonder, the reason why you're not meshing is because you're not being vulnerable enough, or what you're saying is it coming across right? Sometimes you gotta overthink, and you gotta look, but not on the other person, but on yourself, to make sure, like, hey, are you really doing what you're supposed to be doing?
I don't like overthinking, because if I overthink things, then 9 times out of 10, I'm going to overthink myself out of it.
Okay.
So I'd rather ask a question and know exactly what it is, and we have a conversation about it, than to assume anything.
Well, that makes sense, definitely.
Because if I assume it, I'm going to write the story. And it could not even be the story that needed to be written, because it's not what I'm thinking. But I've been given the opportunity to think it, so I'm gonna write it out what I think it is, because you've given me that opportunity. So talk to me. I'm not hard to talk to, contrary to popular belief. I'm really not. Have a conversation with me, and I just don't think if it's not meshing, if we're not having some type of connection where we feel like we want to extend this, then no, I'm not. Go on. Like, you go find you somebody else, and I'll keep doing me. But I'm good.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, and it is like Warrior said, you have to look at how, and I have made the decision personally that it's only been 2 years, like next month will be 2 years since Michael passed. I'm not ready.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready to be dating yet. I thought that I was, but I'm not.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So, I'm going to continue to heal and do what I need to do for me. And when it's time, it'll happen. But I'm not rushing it, and it'll be okay. I may want something. I may want a person in my life like that, but it does not necessarily mean that's what I need.
True.
So, but that's it. Did y'all want to add anything else before we get off?
That was pretty much it for me.
Okay. Lady T, you want to add anything else before we get off?
Sorry, I'm multitasking. No, it's been a great conversation. I guess Joe hung up.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
I said it.
But that was
Yeah.
because he realized that it wasn't what he thought it was.
No, he wasn't gonna get it. He wasn't gonna get that chance.
Yeah, that's what that was. He didn't. Yeah. So, but I thank y'all again for coming on, and I think our special guest, Michael Warrior Bonds. Again, you can find him on Instagram and Facebook. So definitely look for him if you're ever in the Boston area, check him out. He's a great guy. He's a very down to earth brother. Very studious. And I like that. So, but yeah. I want to thank y'all for coming on and listening out there in podcast world. I will be back on the 26th of this month. I'm going to have on a baker, locally, a mobile baker here in town. And she has her own mobile bakery. Like it's in a van, and she takes it around and she bakes in it right there. So she does a lot of events, especially at schools. Excuse me. It went down the road too.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but she actually goes to different locations in her mobile bakery, and she bakes. And then she's also doing a mobile nail salon. So I'm like, okay. So we're gonna have her on. The name of her mobile bakery is Nicole's Sweets, and I tasted her sweets, and they were good. They were really
even better.
Yeah, so we're gonna have her on the 26th. So now for all y'all haters that was out there sending me ugly messages about, you capping about you don't know pretty fat girl gang. You don't know her.
Oh Lord.
Why you capping? She's
really?
February the 9th, people. Also, February the 10th is a Saturday. we're gonna have Sasha's Triple X playpen. It's gonna be a poetry show. Yes. Yeah, and that hookup that you sent me, Ms. Deidre. Like she is fire.
Oh yeah, she is.
Like not even just overall as an individual. She is the truth.
Yeah.
Wordmatic. Is that her
name? Yes, I got. She's gonna have a special page for Black History Month on my magazine.
Oh, okay. All right. I can't wait to see that. But she is, she's the truth. Like, it was just supposed to have been like a 15-minute conversation. We talked for like 45 minutes to an hour. First time ever meeting each other, and we talked for that long. It was awesome.
Oh, that's good.
It was great. Thank you, Deidre. I appreciate you sending her my way. And not just for the poetry, but for some other personal reasons.
Yeah.
This is just, she the truth. She is the truth. I've been doing my 7 and 3. I've been breathing. I've been breathing. I've been breathing. So, that's going to happen February the 10th. Triple X, do your thing. If you're going to be interested, you still got time to come on. If you're still interested in performing, you got time. But hurry up, because the slots are filling up. I got space for one more person. I got space. Now, I would prefer it to be a man, but if it's not, that's okay. But definitely hit me up at Night Talks with Sasha 69 at gmail.com and put in the subject matter attention spoken word poetry show, something to that effect, so that I can know what it's about and grab that message quickly and send you a response. But that's coming on February the 10th. Like I said, February the 9th, that pretty fat girl gang, LaQuisha Brown, gonna be on. Now, that's what she told me to tell y'all. She coming. So I'm telling y'all what she told me to tell y'all. So I'm telling you. So, y'all ain't got to send me no more messages, please. Because I don't have to cuss y'all out. I really don't.
But that's be fun.
Yeah, I don't want to have to cuss nobody out, though. I really don't. I really, really don't. So, anyway, that's coming up in February. And as soon as I finish up this book, y'all, this book is good. And it's not something that you can, it's Thank You, Ma'am, Love and Sex of Older Black Women by Karen Johnson. Great book. But it's not something that you can just speed read through. I'm writing notes.
You got to pay attention.
Yes. Yeah, you got to pay attention to it. And it's a really good book. And so I'm enjoying it. Since the cold weather, I'm not really getting out right now. That's what I've been doing, catching up, reading that book. So I got my pen. I'm making my notes. It's good. Y'all should try to get it. I'm gonna post her site where you can do it. And it's my fault. I'm taking an AI class, right? My AI class it's busy. It has me doing a lot of reading. And I didn't expect it to be this busy.
Yeah.
And it's I gotta balance my time. I'm not balancing my time good. But I gotta go. That's what I gotta do. The homework. I got homework.
Yep.
I got AI homework. I gotta go and engineer some prompts. Like I gotta write them and then tell the AI bot to make me this picture. This shit is hard. This stuff ain't easy.
None of the whatever looks simple, trust me, it's hard. It's always harder than what you imagine, but it makes it worthwhile to get it done.
It really is, especially when you go to trying to perfect it and get the. Because sometimes AI have a tendency to add. You've seen those pictures where the people have 6 and 7 fingers on one hand. And an extra leg and all that kind of stuff, or they don't have a leg. Well, now I'm learning how to go in and correct that so that it's not on my stuff. And girl, yeah, that's.
She put in the girl. That says a lot right there.
Yeah, I like Coach Brazil. She's awesome, but damn, she needs to work. She ain't great, but it's awesome, my good. But anyway, I'm gonna have that coming on in the spring too. I'm doing a show about AI and how to monetize it for yourself, because there is a way to monetize it and there is a way for you to sell your images depending on which AI you use. If you're using one from Microsoft Bing, they own it. Microsoft Bing, they own your stuff. But there are other AI generators that you can use where you can become licensed and own your own stuff. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm hoping that I can get Coach Brazil, Coach Monica, and Coach Gloria on the show, and we talk about it. And I'll tell you what I love about this prompting thing is that there's so many older people that are doing it. It is so awesome to see some of my seniors, like to see some of our seniors out here writing prompts, trying to write prompts, and I love it. I just love it. But anyway, that's a whole nother show for a whole nother topic. I want y'all to have a great weekend. Let me get off of here because I'll start a whole nother conversation. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay warm. Be safe. And when you're praying for everyone else again, and you're praying for yourself and your loved ones and your family, let's think about our brothers and sisters and even some of our babies that are out here in the streets. If you know of any warming stations that are open and that are receiving people, please put them on the page, on Night Talks with Sasha on my Facebook page. Wherever you are in your city, let me know. And that way I can try to get it around to people that I know that are in that places, and then we can I just hate to know that there's someone out here cold. And this weekend is going to be even colder. So let's just say, let's lift them up in prayer. And if you have some old coats, I'm actually getting some old jackets and stuff together myself to donate. I'm just going to go to a place that they have them here in town and just leave it out by the side river. And I'm just going to leave them downtown for people and a couple of scars and just, So let's lift up our people. And for those that are having to decide between gas and food, trying to stay warm, let's just pray for them. So, hate to end it on that sad note because we had a really great conversation, but it needed to be said. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank y'all again for tuning in, and thank you, ladies, for coming on, and thanks to my special guest, Michael Warrior Buns. It was a great conversation. It was an awesome show tonight, and y'all have a great weekend, and I love you. Bye.
Back at you.
Bye.
Bye.